Hey Yagaho, Cooper here. Just wanted to show off and I guess review my new playmat that arrived today from InkedGaming. Done some business with them before and the quality is always fine, so I'm not really concerned about that. I've gotten stuff like my Camilla playmat that I use for Pokemon, as well as this nice playmat bag featuring the cast of the modern Persona games and the Persona Q2 forms. And this is what I've been having to use up to this point. I had to use this for the Bandai webcam tournament. This is just kind of paper that I taped together, so not really much of an actual playmat. It was more of a proof of concept, but I decided I liked this quite a bit. So let's put this to the side and open up this tube here. You might notice that this tube is a little bit bigger than it needs to be for one individual playmat, because there's actually another thing in here as well. So let's pop that cap off right there and dump it out. Let's see what we got. All right, put this there, and there's the playmat. All right. Again, if you know me, you know I like all of the Beetle, Digimon, the Kabuterimon, and Kuwagamon lines, and that is what we've got going on here. So you'll immediately see we've got various arts from the cards that have been released so far through Starter Deck 4, Giga Green. This is, I guess, the Kunimon is not actually a Kunimon card, but it is from the excellent option card, Hidden Potential Discovered. Got the booster one, Tentomon, the Starter Deck Kabuterimon, as well as Mega Kabuterimon, booster one, Hercules Kabuterimon, booster one, just this entire line, right? Kuwagamon, Okuamon, and a Grand Kuwagamon. And there's a couple of details on here I was a little afraid about because they were very close to the edge. When you design playmats like this, you gotta have a bit of a bleed area, and so you have to accommodate for that. I've designed a couple of playmats for myself before, and yes, they're all usually this busy and intricate. And this one definitely took me a very long time, but definitely had a lot of fun making it. So some of the things I was really concerned about up here at the top with the memory gauge, which I've got transitioning from a blue to red on the side. I put a little MB there for megabytes because it is memory after all. I was definitely very afraid about whether these little sprites up here were going to hold inside the border of the mat, and looks like they did. We got Pabumon, Modimon, Tentomon, Kunimon, Kabuterimon, Kuwagamon, Mega Kabuterimon, Okuamon, Hercules Kabuterimon, and finally Grand Kuwagamon. And I was very afraid they were going to get off the top of the mat there, but looks like, there we go, got a little better zoomed in. Had ample space at the top, so I was pretty sure they'd be fine. Here in their dot sprite forms from Cyber Sleuth. Kunimon's actually not in Cyber Sleuth, so I kind of had to make that one myself. Kind of had to make a lot of things on this myself, actually. Down here in the breeding area, I got my breeding area down here, as it's kind of difficult for me to actually maneuver my hand over here. It kind of, whatever. Anyway, breeding area is down here. Here's my tertiary guy, Daramon. He's shooting some eggs. I was afraid about this one as well, because this one's right on the corner there. Possibly was going to clip through multiple ways, but we got our Digi-Egg as well as our Pabumon that we hatched there. I don't think Pabumon was actually in one of the Dusk or Dawn games, or at least I didn't find the sprite, so I kind of had to take an art and kind of spritify it myself. And we got some nice vines around where the Digi-Egg deck goes, and then this cool tree here around where the Digimon is going to go in the breeding area. Got Kunimon on top of the tree, and Tentomon down there at the base of the tree, sipping him some whatever drink it is, I guess. I'm going to pretend it's bubble tea, because that's the thing the community is kind of obsessed with. Down there at the base of the tree. The deck and trash here are frames from Digimon Digital Card Battle from PS1, my favorite Digimon game on the PlayStation 1 for sure. Got a little defeated Tentomon and Kunimon there that I found. I think Tyrant Kabuterimon was in that original art. Over here for the security area, Guilmon is kind of my fourth guy, so I wanted to include him as well. And you can kind of subtly see the security symbol there on the overlay, as well as the Gallantmon shield there with, I believe it's called the 0 unit. And I spent the longest time trying to make sure that 0 unit was lined up with the heart on the security lock there. And we've got Guilmon, Growlmon, War Growlmon, and Gallantmon from their DS game sprite forms. And they're standing on, if you know what those are standing on top of, you're probably a Mega Man Battle Network fan. So there's a reference there that only I would get. But I'm very pleased with how this came out. The colors are super vibrant. Sit back down here. There were a lot of things I had to custom edit myself. You'll notice that these are all arts from cards. However, they're not all just the arts of the cards. The most striking one, I think, is probably this guy right here. this Mega Kabuterimon from the starter deck is not supposed to be blue. It's red. So I actually went in and did a hue shift to make him be blue instead, as I do prefer the blue Mega Kabuterimon. That's the one that was in Digimon World 2, where both of these lines exist in their full capacity. As well, several of the arts kind of get cut off, and we'll actually have the cards out momentarily, and you can see I believe some of these extremities on Herc are not quite there. I think like some of the hands, the dumbbells on the cool starter deck Kabuterimon art here. A big one is Grand Kuwagamon's big swoosh from the Booster 1, or I guess it's in 1.5. Had to extend the swoosh. Okuamon's wing had to be reconstructed. So a lot of editing went into making these stand alone on a playmat as opposed to be just on their card. So got a deck to put on and see where all they go. But before we do, that's kind of a lump here. Let's go ahead and address that. As you know, the Vile Pestilence is upon us, and conventions are generally a great place for germs anyway, so I thought it would be cool. InkedGaming is currently offering custom face masks, so I decided to order one of those and design one of those as well, and ordered an extra one of these, but apparently it also comes with one. So this is the, I guess this goes behind the ears and this can go behind the head, and it's got a little slot here for, I guess, like a filter. It doesn't look like it has a little metal hook there that could go on your nose, but the design is, well, you can probably guess. Sure enough, again, it is the Beetle guys, this time with some different artwork here. We have got the Grand Kuwagamon from the promo that you get with the starter decks, as well as the, I believe that's the starter deck Kunimon up here climbing the little pixelated tree. Tentomon again down here at the base of the tree, kind of mirroring the breeding area imagery with the same. I just love that Tentomon picture so much. And then, of course, the excellent starter Hercules Kabuterimon on that side. So I just decided to keep it a little bit simpler with this because there wasn't quite as much real estate to work with, and I'm definitely looking forward to wearing this to regionals and whatnot, especially while there is, nastiness going around, and which is just generally the case with regionals. I believe I think I had to move this little manhole cover to make it very clear. This is from Digimon World 1. I forget exactly which screen it was. It was somewhere in the native forest area is where I got the screen cap from. And then all the trees there were not big enough, so I had to find a different tree. But very pleased with how this turned out. Again, just like this, it's very, very vibrantly colored. And I think this turned out exactly how I was hoping it would. The template that's on InkedGaming was perfect, and it's fantastic. All the important stuff is there, and it's great. I love it. I'm not going to try it on right now because, again, wash before use, but I'm sure it is perfectly fine. So I had my own custom bubbles that I did. There's templates out there, of course, for playmats, but I decided to, I believe I measured these against the size of a quarter, and that's pretty much the size of it right there. So I wanted these to be pretty much as big as possible, a nice big number so you can see it from a distance. It should be no problem. I think I mentioned already I had the MB on there because memory megabytes, get it. And of course the memory counters I'm going to be using are going to be my Digimon figures. We've got my main one there is the Kunimon, and that's sized pretty well to fit on there. I've also got, this is probably the biggest one I have, the Kuwagamon. It's a little big, but again, that's why I wanted the bigger circles on there. Got Okuamon as well, who also fits, and of course they slide. This one doesn't slide quite as well, but these slide very nicely across the surface here. And the Grand Kuwagamon, which is a little bit smaller than I'd like it to be compared to the rest, but it fits very nicely. Sliding across there. Also got this Kabuterimon, which is not sliding quite as well because it doesn't have quite a drop there. One thing you can do if you have Digimon figures that don't slide very well, this Kunimon actually came with a little base, otherwise he probably wouldn't slide as well, is try to affix a coin to the bottom. I think I've just got this Velcro adhesive to the bottom, so that'll make it slide really well. So all sorts of options for tracking memory, and I think that'll look really, really cool with the memory gauge increasing to higher levels of stuff as it goes. So let's see how well the play zones worked out. I was able to base these play zones on, again, as I mentioned, previous mats that I've made with InkedGaming, and they worked out pretty well. So this is not going to be something I can really zoom in on. I guess I can zoom in on it in editing. But yeah, so lines up pretty well right there. You can kind of still see the edges of the vines, and over here we'll, not Fremont, I hate Fremont, it's Tanamon. Tanamon, we can still see the wood and the leaves above there, so that looks excellent. I'd like to see that. Over here we would have the deck, and here would be the trash. By the way, here's the Grand Kuwagamon. You can kind of see how big this, how much I had to extend that swoosh, as well as some other stuff. I don't think I had to extend the claw over here. Some of the stuff at the top as well. I've got some of these cards actually in this deck that I just kind of threw together. Here's the Okuamon. You can see this Okuamon's actually mirrored, and I had to completely restore this wing that is blocked by Mega Kabuterimon's jaw, as well as you might be able to see I applied some translucency effects here to the swoosh that Okuamon has on this slash right here, as well as its beating wings in the background. So there were some simplifications I made, I think, especially to Grand Kuwagamon's wings up here beating. Where's another one? The Tentomon, thankfully, I didn't have to restore too much on that. It was kind of all self-contained. I'll pop up some of the pictures from the other stuff I don't have in this deck at the moment, as well as I'll actually post transparencies of these if you for some reason want them for your own projects. Definitely spent I think there is a Hercules Kabuterimon in here, is there not? It's probably in here. Anyway, yeah, I'll post pictures of these if you're interested in using them for some project that you have. Yeah, you can kind of see the horn is kind of blocked by the costs right there. So, and then also had to sort of airbrush out a little bit of the feet stuff down here. It was mostly obscured by the lower bits of the line. But that definitely took a long time to do, and likewise for these over here, which I don't have because none of these cards are out in English yet, that the art originates from. Over here, so how does that line up there in the deck? It is a little bit loose. I do have a double sleeve with an oversleeve here, in case I ever want to use those. And with the oversleeve, it fits pretty darn well, and should be the same dimensions there for the trash. So I'd rather it be a little bit too big and a little bit too small. Over here for the security stack, I think that's probably nice and roomy. Let's just take 5 cards and sort of get them as spaced out evenly as we can, and see how that kind of goes. And that's pretty much perfect. Good spacing. You can easily tell how much security is left back in the memory like that. As always with InkedGaming stuff, it's top-notch quality. Surface is going to be perfectly fine. Feels great. Cards move across perfectly fine. Of course, InkedGaming does have a lot of options. If you're interested, they do have some of the stitch edging, as well as you may have seen on this other playmat, they have other colors of backing. I do like this blue backing, but I didn't so much like it for this mat because Grand Kuwagamon is, predominantly black, so black made perfect sense for that. I didn't want the stitched edging on this because of the memory tracker at the top of the mat. I thought, that's might well, infringe a little bit on my space. I don't want my memory counter to rub against, especially if it's a smooth one like this, to rub against a stitched edging. So I've never had any problems with frayed edges, but certainly that is one thing. If you're concerned about frayed edges, stitched edging is a good option as well. I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah, again, if you're interested in getting these arts that I sort of airbrushed out, I'll post links to those in the description. It was definitely a lot of fun to take the arts that were on the cards and make them fit into a design. Here going up both the lines, both the Kabuterimon and the Kuwagamon lines. Very, very pleased with this. Oh, and I forgot to mention the background. The background also from Digimon Digital Card Battle. This is I believe it's the Jungle Arena, where all the green nature specialty guys are. They're in the first area of the game, so a lot of translucency effects that I put on here. Again, I mentioned the Okuamon, even the Tentomon has some slight translucency effects, as well as the Hercules Kabuterimon over here has some translucency effects on its electricity. So that was all a lot of fun to design. And then I thought about putting some images in the backgrounds of the deck and trash, but I decided I just would rather see more of Grand Kuwagamon and just kind of have it sort of frosted glass, I guess. over that. So yeah, that'll do it. I'm super pleased with how this mat turned out. Very pleased with this blue Mega Kabuterimon, especially he just pops down here, this bright blue. Absolutely love it. I also made sure to put the blue Mega Kabuterimon up here. I almost forgot that detail. But yeah, super pleased with this playmat. So yeah, definitely check out InkedGaming if you have a custom design that you want printed. I know I kind of made my own template from like obsessive measuring of card dimensions. I'm sure there are other templates out there, but yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Definitely looking forward to using this at many in-person events whenever it becomes safer to do so. Thanks for watching. Later days.